forward, to try to find the investor community to push it forward. So it's very much a community aspect, as Paul talked about before. There's no way that we can literally build a product end-to-end on the university. We get to the strength of being inside the university and try to move it out where things can scale. Like, good enough answer?
I think so. I mean, I like to tell people is we have lots of technologies, but they're all, and it's that gap. And vision the product, and also have the will to do the work about the gastroenteric monitoring system. I thought of products that surgical procedures and academic using around 3,000 people in applications from just a very simple procedure to monitor that is going on, so that we can catch the not just mortality, but complications. Various other ideas come about, and that's the type of thing that we want to promote. But having the people to do that is, where we kind of struggle. We struggle to find the entrepreneurs who are willing to take this forward. So if anybody knows anybody who is interested in starting a business or has an idea on how to take these ideas forward,
please talk to us. So our graduate student who invented all this stuff has expressed interest. He's a PhD in about 9 months from now. Has expressed interest in sort of South, so there could be an opportunity to see a market opportunity for investors or would like to be involved in this. You could literally be working side by side with the guy who invented it all.
There's a question here too, to warm up the crowd, and I hope someone else has another question. Todd, I was going to ask for a tricorder, but you're way past that now. What about applications for some of these sensors that I'm familiar with and that I worked in the past, like monitoring prematuro infants for SIDS and cardiac conditions? I mean, you could envision how you can put those patches on, monitor them at home or in the hospital without having to worry about the cumbersome aspects of putting some adult patches on them. Have you explored that?
Yes, we have explored it, and we have multiple collaborations right now with people in neonatology and in pediatrics, where we're doing studies right now at Rady Children's Hospital, the neonatal intensive care unit at UCSD, and also UC San Francisco, where we're looking at things like monitoring respiration, monitoring ECG, also monitoring temperature. So we have ongoing clinical studies to explore all of these applications. What we're trying to do at a high level is to demonstrate the capability in these clinical studies, and the idea being, once we cross those boundaries, it should be easier to envision this being spun out to different companies who want to license because it's already been published in a peer-reviewed publication. But we definitely thought about those, and we're actively pursuing those research.
Ruben invited me here this evening. I'm a serial entrepreneur and started working very successfully here in beautiful San Diego over the years. And one of the things that I recently sold my most recent company, and one of the things I've done is spend some time here in San Diego looking at emerging technologies and things that are going on. And I find that your work is amazingly in line with some of the most important things that we're doing here in San Diego. One is robotics, one is miniaturization, another is big data analytics. Being slightly older than 29 years old, I have suffered through some of the tests that you showed up there, and I can tell you I had avoided several of those for many years simply because of the factors where I may not come out alive over some simple test. So I applaud you for that. Your team is doing an amazing job. I'm not sure you realize exactly how significant this technology that you've built, which I find fascinating that you come from analytics, which is really interesting in so many ways. You mentioned that you could see several other uses for this. This is one of those things where you've got a technology that has broad enough appeal for investors, but you've also meant for government. It has so many applications with the genome, with miniaturizing so many tests that are so funky. I broke some body parts and had to do physical therapy. And I remember each time and I said, okay, my body will never return to its normal state. And we do all kinds of physical therapy activities. I can see areas where your technology can use physical therapy to make that whole process far less painful and much more
I suggest that you talk to Matt Wilson Sassini, because my neighbor across the street saw some potential uses of our technology, and she's actually being recruited to UC. She's seen some uses in the context of rehabilitation, and she has her own instruction specialist herself, and she has spun out her own company. They have some of their own inventions that are independent of mine, but there could also be opportunities to license some of my inventions, but she has a focus on this issue of mobile rehabilitation. That helps manage some of their IP. Sounds like that's something that's particularly of interest.
My husband and I actually, and our team, and so we work, it's interesting, I want to meet your neighbor as well, because we work in rehabilitation and pain treatment. I thought we were coming today actually because we work with spinal cord injured clients, and we made that decision, and here we are. And I guess I was thinking at the time more about the aspects of nerve regeneration in the way that most people, I'm surprised that I saw the GI, and immediately it had need for people with spinal cord injury. It decided, well, whether they decided to adapt to their paralysis or not, essentially to do a bowel program, a bowel movement. I know them intimately. I'm a nurse. I talk about this issue all the time, and I'm fascinating, and I look forward to learning.
Thank you. It is telling of a variety of different groups of people that have GI motility problems. As I present this to the community, I'm just always taking notes of more and more children with autism, for example. Sometimes you hear doctors along the lines of what you said, the issue of trying to even understand, a bowel movement has huge implications. Taking note, and we're staying in touch all through all of it. That's part of the reason I presented. Most of the topics I presented on are things that have not been licensed yet, and things that we can't quickly get this. And you also might want to talk to Phil and Marianne about spinal cord regeneration, because you're going to say Phil and Marianne? either side. Yes, so some of the work that I mentioned about my graduate student Marcella has implications in that regard. Some other inventions that have been licensed that were part of the image recognition process. So you're alluding to that has been like other applications that are more standard machine learning. Writing hardware, our graduate student Marcella was using non-Feynman architecture. So one of her inventions spoke to doing exact inference, so mathematically precise, non-Feynman neuromorphic architectures are not from multiple perspectives. Human has very low energy hardware. To make sure I understand your question, I'm going to repeat it to you. Hopefully you can clarify. So you first said you're interested in veterinary medicine, so I thought what you were going to say is that I want to slap these patches, on your pet, or I don't know, on a cow, we're going to get some Kobe beef from Japan, and we want to make sure that that cow wasn't depressed or something. But you also talked about storing the data, and you mentioned conservation. So I want to make sure I understood that connection. So one thing we can definitely do is we can store the data, so we can put chips and memories and whatnot in there, so we can definitely store the data. I mean, I guess one way to think about it is basically any type of thing that we use right now with computer chips that are in our phones, quite a few of those things can be miniaturized to the point that they're about the size of a piece of dust. And our grad student Utah is invented ways to embed that full electronics. So that's the sort of memory in a traditional memory sense. But I wanted to make sure I understood your question about how that relates to conservation.
And so the reason why I would want to try and to try and get some bioengineers to try and
I think what you mean is you don't want the animals to go extinct in that sense?
Yes, but that wasn't really, I guess, the point. I really just want to ask, who we store this data in?
For more about these different...
Yeah, and we could do it this data.
Excellent question. And, Bill Decker, he's interested in products, right? Let's take these inventions that UCC and turn them into products. So along the lines of what you're saying, I think I learned of this just randomly by accident, and the folks in my research group remember this. You'd be surprised at how much money people will pay to take care of their loved pet or some loved animal. They'll take better care of their pet than they'll take care of themselves. And so any type of technology that you can use that can tell you more information, so that panda in China or your pet, the market opportunity, from what my understanding, is huge. So I think you're definitely onto something there. And there's a guy who did his PhD at Illinois where I started my career, and he literally created this little robotic toy that plays with your cat. And all the thing does is it runs around randomly, and your cat follows it, and it's crazy the traction that they're getting. So people feel like the cat is not depressed when they're gone. And that's just one example. And so I had a chance to talk to some investor group in Japan, and one of the questions that they asked us is, can you determine if your dog is depressed? If you can tell you that, we'll invest. We'll. So all these sorts of things about applying these technologies to other animals, I think from a product perspective, are big opportunities.
Yeah, and there's a little bit of money in the race. Again, once every 3 months.
Once every 4 months, so those capabilities are definitely there. Absolutely.
I'm a new master's student in the electrical engineering. I know that one of the big problems currently is that the store sort of battery and the play for long term.
I mean, that depends on what chip is going to be. It depends on a lot of details, but at a high level, what we're demonstrating is the capability of the first demonstration that we have is that we can build a system that has a flexible sensor, integrated circuits, and a wireless transmission module, all on the same form factor that we originally demonstrated in 2011. Now the next step is the details. What's the plumbing? How are you going to interconnect all these things together to create capabilities so that this thing can run for as long as possible? And so I can talk to you offline about that. But one of the key things that my graduate student Marcella invented is the ability to perform a large class of inference procedures, including things such as compressed sensing, if any of you have heard of that, using very clever mathematical approaches that allow us to use extremely low energy neuromorphic chips that are being embraced by lots of companies. You might have heard about a month ago Intel acquired a San Diego-based startup that was doing certain classes of algorithms and hardware. So that's sort of where we are with the capabilities, the exact power specs and whatnot. There's lots of other details, but we're just demonstrating these core capabilities. So this is one of these situations where after we productized, or after we brought it into a company, the smart engineers such as yourself could really dive into the detail. But if you want to know the power specs of the inference module, I can talk to you about that offline and point you to the public.
How's it going? I'm Michael from the community. I had a question about, you've been kind of jokingly referring to monitoring depression in house play. I mean, the problem there is you have the language, you can't ask your dog to be depressed, rough, but I guess my question is, do you have these, I did high fidelity monitoring outside of the high. I study cognitive science, so I definitely you have the fixed heart rate variability for sure. You could use in concert with anyone as you could be trying to bring together those.
Well, yeah, you hit on a very big topic, which is the issue of quantitative ways to assess a variety of different neuropsychiatric issues. And so some of you may know Tom Insel, who's the former director of the National Institute of Mental Health, who's now at Google, made that his top priority while he was at NIH. And so indeed, we've spent quite a bit of time doing that. We actually collaborated with a professor in the psychiatry department at UC San Diego and collected some data on schizophrenic patients, where we were able to just record, in this example, it was EEG. And one of the things that's well known, thousands of publications have shown that people with schizophrenia have similar types of problems with people with Alzheimer's disease and certain forms of cognitive updating, and there are EEG signatures of that. And so we did studies on these schizophrenic patients using the full shower cap of EEG as well as normal patients. First demonstrated we can pick up those known changes, and then demonstrated with just our patch on the forehead that we can pick them up robustly. So there were inventions on that, and they've been spun out to a startup company here in San Diego. And so some of those types of ideas, indeed, we thought about and spun them out Other sorts of applications, as you mentioned, such as heart rate variability and galvanic skin response, are particularly interesting because